Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Mr. Day. Today, let me introduce myself first. My name is Mulyana, and my MTM is 22066993. And today, I want to make a video for my final task of numerical methods for solving the student version military application of Suprema system. Okay. Okay. Before we analyze, I want to review the problem. Like the SCTS first is the satellite transportable in terminals, and the first one want to statement the problem. Like the U.S. Army needs cost-effective and reliable shocks for SCTS to protect the satellite payload during the loading and the transport. And there are three different shocks that we have to analyze. The first one is air posters, the second one is flood riders, and the third one is axiom shocks, each with specific spring constant and damping coefficients. And the next one is the mathematical models. Like the suspension system is modeled using a second order differential equation. M d squared x per dt squared plus beta dx per dt plus kx equal to ft. Like m is the mass, beta is the damping constant, and the k is the spring constant. And the Ft is the external forces. And the next one is the critical damping analysis. For each shock, the critical damp value is determined to avoid oscillatory motion. And the solution for both given damping values and critically damped values are plotted and compared to determine the best shock for loading the satellites. Okay, next one is performance analysis under the severe terrain. Like engineers specified that frequent bottoming out of the suspension will damage the satellite. So the external forces is modeled as Ft equals to 200 sin for T, while N is simulating the most severe terrain at the highest speed. And then the non-homogeneous differential equations are solved, and maximum or minimum displacement are found to evaluate the long-term performance. The second one is, and the next one is the budget committee's preferred option. Uh, like the budget committee prefers and premium shocks with K equal to 25 Newton per meters, like the beta is 0 Newton second per meters due to the cost considerations. And analysis is conducted to demonstrate that undamped shocks are insufficient by solving the initial value problem with variable frequency to simulate different drama conditions. Also, the next one is the simulation for rugged terrain. A scenario is modeled where the trail transfers rugged terrain with impulses represented by direct delta function, and the axiom shocks is k equal to 170 Newton per meters, and the beta is 11 and 10 Newton second per meters. Like this axiom shock is are evaluated for their effectiveness in preventing damage during transport of rugged terrain. And the non-homogeneous differential equation are solved and the maximum minimum displacement are found to evaluate the long-term performance. And after all of that, we can give the recommendation based on the analysis that made for the best shocks absorber to use for the STDS to protect the satellite and ensure the safe transport. I'm sorry. Okay. Mohon maaf, Pak. Saya share screen kembali. Okay. The next one is we want to analyze the Suprema system, but before that, we have to pray to God in the name of Allah, the most graceful and gracious and the most merciful. Today, we seek your guidance as we begin this task. Grant us peace of mind and heart, and give us the strength of patience to complete each step as well. You will open the doors of knowledge and wisdom for us, make our tasks easy, and protect us from any difficulties and confusion, and bless us with the inspiration and creativity so that we can give our best in this work. Your love, we pray that the results of our work might bring good benefits to all involved and to the wider community, and keep us away from the mistakes and negligence and guide us on the right path. With your mercy and permission, we hope to complete this task successfully. I mean, Okay, the we can solve this problem with the five framework. The first one is intention. In intentions, the goal is to model the suspension system for an STT trailer loaded with a satellite using three different shocks. And the step is we need to, the first one is we have to determine the critically damped value for each shock. The second one is solve the mass spring mass system for each shock, which given and critically damped values, then the plot solution. And the third one is discuss the best shock for loading the satellite based on the analysis. And the fourth one is we have to solve the non-homogeneous equation for each shock under the given external force and find maximum or minimum displacement. And last one is recommend the best shock based on the performance with solve the homogeneous equation and identify both transient and steady state solution, then plot them together. And the second step of the framework is the initial thinking. In this step, we know we have three shocks with known spring constants and damping coefficients, and the system can be modeled using the second order differential equation for them harmonic oscillators. And by solving these equations with both the given and critically damped damping coefficients, we can analyze the behavior of these shocks. Also, the external force is given as Ft equals to 240, which must be included in the non-homogeneous equations. And below, this is the picture of the specification of the shocks, which the air coaster have the spring contents, blah blah blah, float riders have blah blah blah, and extreme shocks have blah blah blah. And the next step is idealization. In this, we can assume first the initial displacement and the velocity of the system are zero. And the second one is the force function, which Ft equals to 240 accurately represent the external force. And the system is linear and can be described by the term harmonic oscillator equations. And the last step is instructions. In this step, we have several several instruction or steps, and the first one is we have to determine the critically damped value for each shock with the equation below, bel like beta c equals to 2 times square k times m, where k is the spring constant and m is the mass. And I use numerical methods software, which is Python, to solve this problem. Like we just like give we wrote the given values, we wrote uh the equations, and finally we have the value for critical dam for each shock. For the air coasters is the value is 1258.7, and from the cloud riders is of 651.76, and for the extreme shocks is 1106.34. And for the next step is we have to solve the spring mass system, and the step one is we have to set up the differential equations, like like I said before. And the number two is we use the numerical methods to solve the equation for given and critically damped beta. And three, we plot the solutions. And I'm using the Pythons again for searching the calculations. And the first one, we input the constant data and initial condition, also the time span, and I use 1,000 points, also the time array, and the differential equation function. And also we uh, input the differential equation to solve the differential equations, and I'm inputting the differential equation to solve for each shock. Also, the next one is I'm inputting the code for plot results, and this is the results. This is the results for the three different shock, and the recommendations is the extreme shocks. Like that this. And why? Because the axiom shocks offer the best balance of minimal oscillations and the fast response. They are almost critically damped with the given damping coefficients. Like the axiom shocks would providing a stable solutions for loading the satellite on the SCT trailer besides the other two shocks. Okay, this is the executive summary. Like, uh, this is the background of this presentation. The objective is to model the suspension system of an SCT trailer loaded with a satellite using three different shocks, focusing on avoiding oscillatory motion and potential damage to the satellite. And the step is, the first one is determine critical dim values, like predictive maintenance can contribute to vehicle reliability. And the second one is solve the spring mass system. Like we have to solve for each shock using both and given and critically damped values and plot the solution for comparison. And the last one is we analyze and give the recommendations. Like we discuss each shock performance and recommend the best shock for the SAT suspension based on the analysis. And the finding, we have three findings. The first one is calculation indicating varying critically damped values across the shocks. And the second one is exploring the solution, highlight differences in performance under given and optimal conditions. And the third one is the best shock for the SCT system will balance performance and prevent damage during the transport of the satellites. And the solution is we use extreme shock because extreme shock offer the best balance of minimal oscillation of fast response. Like they are almost critically damped with the given damping coefficients. Like providing a stable solution for loading the satellite on the SCT trailer. That's it for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.